Hi, I'm Patrick Lamb, and this is the first video blog on In Search of Perfect Client Service. Since I published my book on alternative fees, I've had a number of people call me, talk to me, and tell me that in their experience, clients are not interested, or at least not willing to commit to alternative fee arrangements. And at face value, that's a very disheartening thing to hear, given the Valorum business model, which is set up on making alternative fee arrangements work for the client. So if clients aren't interested in them, it could be a gamble that my partners and I have taken that isn't going to pay off. So when I hear these comments, I take time to probe to find out what the experience was that usually has given rise to the conclusion. And more often than not, in fact almost exclusively, what I'm hearing is that when faced with a piece of litigation, the client indicated they were willing to consider some kind of alternative fee arrangement, and the firm went about trying to price those alternative fee arrangements without making any changes to their structure. So there's no process in place, for example, for figuring out how to most efficiently manage a project management skills. There's no process management or analysis in place so that the firm could say, you know, these kinds of things could be done more economically by someone else, say an offshore vendor. And finally, the firm doesn't take into account the efficiencies that should result from these various things and from a practice which focuses on doing only those things necessary to secure an outcome rather than everything that might be possible under a representation. As a result, what happens is the firm comes up with a price that in its mind is consistent with the amount of money it would have made had they priced the matter and proceeded under an hourly fee arrangement. From the client's standpoint, and ultimately all of this must be looked at from the client's standpoint rather than the firm's standpoint, what they're seeing is a price that is the apex of what they would be paying under an hourly fee arrangement, and the firm has simply said, that's our number. And so the client is either faced with an option of committing to that very high number, and if it does, losing the possibility that matters might settle early, meaning the total fee would be lower, or accepting this very, very high fee, or rejecting it. So it does one or the other, but frankly, I can't imagine any client who spends any time thinking about it that would accept as a, quote, value fee or an alternative fee a number that is at the high end of what the client expected to pay under an hourly rate basis. That's not a value fee, and that's not really an alternative fee, because there's no change in the firm, no change in the firm's behavior, no change in the way they approach a case, and no value or benefit conferred upon the client. So the starting point for a discussion, in my mind at least, must be that the overall cost to the client is lower under a value fee than it would have been under an hourly fee. And if you can't begin with that proposition, I don't know why clients would engage in that discussion with you. As we go along in these discussions, we'll spend time talking about how to arrive at a price, and more importantly, from the client's perspective, how to understand whether the price the firm is giving you is a good price or not. That's it for this inaugural edition of the Pat Lamb In Search of Perfect Client Service video blog. Feel free to leave me your comments on whether this has been interesting or useful, and whether you'd like to see more of these kinds of posts. Thanks, and have a nice day.